Hey guys, this is Richie, and in this video we're going to take a look at the new Probability Pack by Sonic Faction. It was just released today by Ableton, and it's included free if you have Ableton Suite already. And you can just install it right from within Ableton. It'll be in your available packs, and once you install it, it'll show up under your packs. And it's 5 MIDI devices that are sequencers. But they are a little different than your standard MIDI sequencer in that they have probability functions to them. So what you can do is you can adjust the probability, which ends up giving you some more randomness to your patterns and gives you some more creative options to create different types of patterns that evolve over time. It also comes with a bunch of presets to show off how to use these different devices in different creative ways. And we're going to take a look at them. So the first device we're going to take a look at is Step Divider. Now, if you look at Step Divider from left to right, you'll see here that you've got your randomness and randomize function. So that will randomize everything. And then you also have clear. And then you also have the option to connect your controller up to it. Now, this is where things get really interesting, because when we connect it up to our push 2, now you have full control of the device from your push 2, and you can actually see the device parameters in the push as well as the grid. Now, the nice thing is that they've also included a little help function here, and it tells you all the different functions of the controller when it's managing this device. Another nice feature that they added is that you can use it with not just a push 2, but a push 1, or the original push, Launchpad Pro, or a Launchpad Mark II. And this goes for all of the devices except for the arpeggiator. So once we look at this and we take a look at the next section controls the lanes for each part of the sequencer, or each lane of the sequencer. First is your rate, then your division, and then your note. The rate is how fast it goes through the lane, and the division is the size of each step. So you can see we'll divide up the phrase into 5 steps, 8 steps, etc. So we'll put it back to 4 for now. And then you can, like I said, you can see on the push 2 the actual sequencer also. So next part that we have is pattern, and we can actually save our patterns into presets. And then nice thing is that we can also sequence our patterns. So we could put in a whole bunch of patterns in here, turn on the sequencer, and then at the rate that we would choose, it'll step through the sequences and change patterns. And then you can also adjust the direction. So you can go left to right, you can go forward, backwards, and then there's also a random function. The next section is the probability, which all of these devices have. And the probability for this device will adjust the octaves for the steps. So each time it hits this step, it has a probability of going down 2 octaves, it has a probability of going up 1 octave, well, lower probability of going, down 1 octave, medium probability or lower probability of being on the actual step, and then almost no probability of going up a step. So if we play the pattern, you can see here that all of our steps, most of them are on the bottom, and then they change as you see here. If we adjust the probability, you can see here that it starts adjusting which steps are hit. And then we have a velocity range, and that's the range that the steps will hit between, also random, but between either 94 and 127. You can max it out. You can put one all the way down and one all the way up. So and then finally we have the rate, and we have the amount of swing we want. and also what key we would like it to be in. So you could also use this not just for drums, but for melodies and percussion, whatever, or plucks, whatever you want to do. So what we can do here is I'll show you how we can also sequence it on here on the push. So you put in your steps. You can see them showing up on the screen. If you hold down Shift, that will put in the divisions. And then if we save that to a pattern, and then put maybe a different pattern, we can change pages with the page button. And then we can turn on the sequencer. It didn't save the first pattern. So we'll go back. Try saving this again. You hold down Shift and click. And now we can see it switching through the patterns. The buttons on the side adjust the rate. And the rate is stored in each pattern. So if we turn off the sequencer, we could go over here, adjust the rate, and then Shift click and see if that saved it in. It did not. So if you wanted to erase a pattern, you hold down Alt or Option, and then we could adjust the rate. And you can see here that you're not able to edit anything as long as the sequencer is, or the pattern sequencer is on. So that's the step divider. And like I said, you can also use it in a melodic mode. You can put it in key and put a synth on it and use it in that way as well. But I felt that the drums kind of would show off the divisions of the steps and things like that. So the next one that we've got to show off is the rhythmic probability. So you can see here that it looks like your standard step sequencer. You've got your pages down here at the bottom. You've got your steps. You've got your rate and your swing. We can connect it up to the push just like the other device. And now we've got our grid right here, and we can see all of our steps on here. If we hold down on a step, we can actually adjust it. And if we tap in the step, we can put in the step. So this also has its probability functions. So what we have is a probability that the step will happen, the velocity of that step, and the length of that step. And then we also have bank up and bank down. So since this is for a drum rack, bank up is going to be the first half, and then, or bank down is going to be the first half, and then bank up is going to be the second half. And the nice thing is they put tool tips in for all of these. So if you're curious what they actually do, or you forget, you can just take a look. So we'll take a look at this. So you can see here that we've got if we bring it down, the probability is less. And it happens occasionally. You can see that it's not a definite thing that's going to happen every 4 if you have it down to 25%. It's just the chance each time it comes around whether or not it will hit. So it's pretty simple. The nice thing is, like I said, you can use the push with it. you can adjust your pages. And if you hold down Shift and press page, that'll add that page in. So now if we adjust the probability of these steps, so there's not that much to dive into on this one, but you can see that adding chants to your drum loops or your hi-hats could definitely give some movement to it and make it change up. So our next one that we're going to look at is the probability ARP. Probability ARP is an arpeggiator with a chord function in it, so you could actually use one or the other on its own. And nice thing is that you can choose which type of chord you want. So it was set to a minor ninth, and then you can choose which inversion you want to use. And then you can also adjust the arpeggiator with the rate and which octave, and then also the style. So there's a whole bunch of styles in here. And then you also have a gate, so you can remove some of the steps in your arpeggio. And then you can adjust swing and note length. And then we have our probability again. And probability will allow us to set a range for the rate and the amount that that's going to affect the actual setting. Style, adjust the arpeggio style. Length is note length. And then octave, and same thing, all at the bottom, these have amounts, which determines how much that affects the parameter. So if we you can see here that it's affecting the rate here. And then also you have strum, so you can see that it kind of plays more like a guitar. And this is one of the only ones that doesn't have any integration on the grid for the push, but all the parameters are within the push for you to adjust. And now we can move on to the melodic probability, which is similar to the rhythmic probability, but it has a few more parameters to it. So you have your note, your octave, velocity, and length. Now the note is obviously which note it's going to play on that step. And then you have the probability, and the probability is going to adjust the chance that the note is actually going to play, and then the chance that the currently selected step will play the note it's set to, or some other note. So if we go to here, put on this step, you can hear that some of these steps are going to play different notes even though they're set to. And it also stays in key, so you have a key in your scale setting here. And the octaves, you can adjust how many steps up or down it plays, and you can also adjust the probability that it plays up or down. And then velocity, and same thing, it has a probability function for that as well. And note length, which same thing, you can adjust the probability of whether it's going to play that length or play something else. And then our final one, which is a bit more to grasp, is the Dr. Chaos. Now, Dr. Chaos works similar to if you ever used rounds, the reactor ensemble. You have a matrix, and each step goes from one matrix to the other, or each step in the matrix. So your network over here, step 1, and then beneath it is this next step. So the next step is 6. So it's going to go 1 to 6 to 2 to 8 to 3 to 4 to 6 and so forth. Now this also integrates with the push and the other controllers. And then on top of the network that you have here, you can also add chaos to it. So what the chaos does is it actually randomizes what it actually plays. So it randomizes the next step occasionally until you turn it up. Now it's all random. And then we have our note. Well, for each, each step in the matrix or in the network, you can adjust which note, which octave, which velocity, and which length, and then you can also add chaos to that. So if we go into here and look at the chaos network here, you can see here that we see the same parameters, and we can adjust them. So we could say, okay, well, we want it to be note 3. Now you can see that it's staying in key because we have our key setting here and our scale. If we change the scale, watch what happens to E when we change it to a minor scale. It changes to D sharp. So the nice thing is you can have a sequence in here and you can easily change the key and have it all be in key again. And this has a similar function that we can save our network and our notes into patterns, and then we can bring them back. So and we can also view the patterns in here, the note patterns. And that is pretty much the probability pack. Like I said, this is kind of just a quick dive into it to see how all the different devices behave. I definitely recommend that you check it out, make some interesting music with it. It's free if you have Ableton Suite, so it's pretty nice that these are Max for Live devices that they provide to you just on top of what you've already got. So with the improvements in Ableton 10, these devices run really nice compared to how using Max for Live devices was in the past. And it's really nice having it integrated with the push and the other devices out there. So I don't see any reason not to check them out. So check them out, make some cool music, and I hope you check out some of the other videos I've got posted. And stay tuned because I've got a lot more interesting videos coming up. So make sure you subscribe, and I look forward to hearing the music you make with this.